I found something.
Let's see what's inside. Dear contestant, you have been invited to join the Makers panel at Salute. Create your best pirate-themed build and face off against other creators in the Great British Make-Off, a competition of some of the community's greatest creators. I don't think I can turn that down. I don't think I can beat Louise or Alex from 52 Miniatures in skill, so I guess I'll need to beat them in idea. Salute is only 1 month away, so I'll best start on that. First, I write down all of the things that I already know, like it's gonna be pirate themed, it's gonna be 30 by 30. I want it to be Hazelands themed, and I want it to be something impressive. Then we stir well, and if everything's going right, there should be some ideas in there. There's our first idea, thing that says Desert Island, which could be quite cool. Our next idea, Shipwreck City, like a bunch of shipwrecks stacked on top of each other, which could add to the height of it, which might be a bit difficult to take with me, seeing as I do have to travel with it to another country. So let's see what's still in there. Ooh. A running ship. I like that. In the Hazelands there is no sea. The land is surrounded by a great mist. Those who walk into it are lucky if they suddenly find themselves walking out, but most disappear forever. But of course, there are pirates. Hobgoblins are usually pretty enthusiastic to follow anyone who can provide them with fancy feasts and cozy conversations. But those of a more rebellious kind sometimes take a different path in life. There is, for example, Captain Conch, a known hobgoblin pirate captain. She found Walking Castle wreck and converted it into a ship so she could sail the 7 lakes. Her crew spends most of their day enjoying the sun on their deck and fishing. However, they grow tired of fish quite often, and then they walk out of the lake and ambush whoever dares to cross their path. They use their catch of the day to attack people with fish, shoot them out of cannons and poke them with the sharper ones. They'll steal all your belongings and then run off with their entire sloop. I had many ideas for making the general shape of the ship. I ended up laser cutting different sized templates at the local makerspace to help me guide the foam cutter. I then used these templates to cut out a few pieces of foam, going large to smaller at the bottom. The goblin that lives under my bed said I could use a hot glue gun to glue my foam together. This might go horribly wrong, but then I guess we can all learn from it, and you can learn from my mistakes. Okay, great, it's not melting. Ow! See, we're learning from my mistakes. Don't put your hand where you're gonna stick a stick. Once I was happy with the general shape, I cut out a curve to make it look more like my references. Now for the legs. So this is what I got in the secondhand shop. But there was this woman at the secondhand shop who was collecting all the dolls. So this was the only one left. She's a bit gross, a bit dirty, but hey, the legs is all we need and they look pretty alright. I think that's a pretty good height and they'll be easy to snip off because it's only fabric holding her together. Then I also saw this tank for 50 cents. Well, I played Tonks last weekend and so I decided to get myself a little tank and maybe I'll find something to do with it. What I also got is this little candle, I don't know what it's called, little candle put outer. I've been wanting this for so long because I think it's really cute. In some pagan beliefs they say you shouldn't blow out flames because it's disrespectful to the spirit of fire. So I thought this might be nice just so I don't anger little fire spirits. The rest of these things I don't really need, but you always need some new glass jars. I love putting homemade flock into these things or other small craft supplies, and I made my own sticker set to make them look a bit more magical. But let's see which one we'll get. Yeah, that looks so much more magical. Then I couldn't help but get this. It's a little cauldron. I already had a cauldron like this, but this is its baby, so I had to get it. Okay, time to snip off the legs. Don't ask me where I keep all the bodies of all the other dolls I used for my builds. I use these foam sticky strips in so many builds. I stole them from my dad's garage and I honestly have no clue what they are for. This part looks so much more gruesome than I remember. Wow. So yeah, I made some holes in the base as well as in the legs so I could attach metal rods through the whole thing and connect it to the boat. Also hoping that customs wouldn't ask any questions once I had to go across the channel. I screwed everything in and then glued it down with PVA. I had a nightmare where I ended up going to salute and the entire thing just fell apart in my hands when I was about to show everyone, so I was making sure everything was gonna hold up. Then I wanted to add to the illusion of the ship walking and added a little bit of air dry clay and pushed the leftover fruit from another project into it. So now I have this boat on legs. I really wanted to add like little buildings and bits and bobs to the ship itself. There's this Bruegel painting of a guy whose butt sticking out of a toilet, and I think I want that to be here. Scale is so hard, so I always have some of my hobgoblins to see if he would fit in this little toilet. I used some foam and a hard pencil to draw in the wood grain, and then added a little roof with paper shingle. To sculpt the butt, I used green stuff and kept my hobgoblin clothes for butt size reference. There was still a lot of detailing to be done, like wooden beams, just anything that made it look prettier. My base was also looking way too clean, so I plopped some sand and PVA down to have more crunchy looking ground cover. I also added some rocks to have something to hide behind when you see this thing approaching. The legs were kind of hovering under the ship, so I used a little bit of aluminum foil and foam clay to smooth out the connection. So I want to make my own miniatures for the ship. I have another video planned where I talk all about my process of making a miniature, but that is not this one. My process is basically I make some silly drawings and then I sculpt it. And I get into a pretty good flow state when I sculpt, so I just never get around to filming any of this. I made a few sketches of the pirates I'm going to sculpt and I'll show you the rest now. I worked off some hobgoblins that I had made previously and designed them each with their own little job. There's the oarsmen, who are in charge of steering the stubborn ship, and then there's the gunner, who's in charge of filling up the cannons with fish. The stinkier the better, of course. This is Cottontail, a nervous lookout with a skill to always hit someone in the head with a carp. Then there's the first mate, Eggbeard, son of the Golden Goose, after which the ship is named. I painted them the day I had to leave for London, so I kept it really simple, but I ended up really liking the simple, brightly coloured look. I'd also like to take this little moment to thank my patrons for being amazing, and apart from a bunch of other sculpts, they also got the Eggbeard and Captain Conch models. The main part of the boat was done, but I just needed to add some extra things for charm. The mast is removable for ease of transport, and for the sail I used scrappy pieces of fabric with some twine. It looks a bit messy, but the hobgoblins are just messy guys, okay? This is a little steering system that's connected to the ship's wheel with at the end a little feather so they can tickle the leg in whichever direction they want to go. I went to a model shop and bought some really cute boat parts that fit perfectly. Some railing made out of craft sticks so no one falls off the ship while it jumps around. The towers were made really close to the deadline, so not a lot of footage of how I did that. It's just basically a mess of foam and coffee stir sticks. I had some friends lend me a hand with these because the deadline was creeping up so fast. Everything was made out of foam, so I used pins to stick in the protrusions into the base, and then I just used my new best friend filler to fill in all the gaps. And then it was finally ready for painting. Painted up, it was almost ready for the journey. I just needed to add a few flags. I also bought some tiny buckets that I filled with flowers. And then finally a generous sprinkle of grassy fluff. Because it's always misty in the Hazelands, and to add a little bit of charming mystery, I needle felted a cloud around the ship. And then finally it was finished, and I was very relieved. sitting still in one piece. But that was a long journey and I carried this the whole way. But that was a really good time. Let's unpack this. It was so lovely to meet a bunch of people who are as passionate about the hobby as I am. All right, it looks to be in one piece. Yes. I'm still quite proud of this. Now, I really want to play a game that involves the ship. I'm holding down the anchor now, but one of my favorite moments at the convention was just after the panel had finished, when everyone could come and take a closer look at the builds. It was really nice just to talk about the build with a bunch of other people and sharing whatever I knew, but also hearing from everyone else what they'd been up to and what inspired them. And I think that's just a really important part of the hobby. So I'd like to keep up that part of the hobby where we can talk about our projects and inspire each other and learn from each other. And I hate asking people to like and subscribe, but let's just chat in the comments about the things we made. I'd love to hear what everyone's up to and what everyone's making. Yeah, that's it.